Prince Andrew's royal fall just turned steeper. Amid new Epstein bombshells and a tell-all memoir, the disgraced Duke gives up his titles and his last shred of royal grace. The palace is silent. The scandal roars louder. Britain's Prince Andrew has surrendered his titles, including the Duke of York, amid growing pressure over a series of scandals, including his alleged ties with late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Andrew has been under intense scrutiny over his relationship with Epstein, the American financier and convicted sex offender who ran a network that exploited and trafficked underage girls. He faced backlash over a civil sexual assault court case brought in the US by Virginia Giuffre, which was eventually settled, and over his involvement with an alleged Chinese spy. Andrew, the eighth in line to the United Kingdom's throne, was once regarded as a dashing naval officer and served in the military during the Falklands War with Argentina in the early 1980s. But over the years, he gained a reputation as a playboy prince, and in 2022 was stripped of most of his titles and removed from royal duties due to his connections to Epstein. On October 17th, Andrew put out a statement saying,
"In discussion with the King and my immediate and wider family, we have concluded the continued accusations about me distract from the work of His Majesty and the royal family. I have decided, as I always have, to put my duty to my family and country first. I stand by my decision 5 years ago to stand back from public life. With His Majesty's agreement, we feel I must now go a step further. I will therefore no longer use my title or the honors which have been conferred upon me. As I have said previously, I vigorously deny the accusations against me."
The announcement comes just days before the release of Virginia Giuffre's posthumous memoir, which reportedly details 3 occasions on which Andrew allegedly had sex with her, excerpts of which were published by The Guardian earlier. The excerpt reads,
"I don't know exactly when I had sex with Prince Andrew for the 3rd time, but I do know the location. A 72-acre island Epstein owned in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The private sanctuary, right next to St. Thomas Island, was called Little St. James, but Epstein liked to call it Little St. Jess. I also know that it was not just the 2 of us this time. It was an orgy. I was around 18, I said in a sworn declaration in 2015. Epstein, Andy, and approximately 8 other young girls and I had sex together. The other girls all appeared to be under the age of 18 and didn't really speak English. Epstein laughed about how they couldn't really communicate, saying they are the easiest girls to get along with."
In her book titled Nobody's Girl, Giuffre also says that Andrew felt an entitlement to having sex with her whenever he wanted.
"He was friendly enough, but still entitled, as if he believed having sex with me was his birthright."
It wasn't just the memoir that has implicated Andrew recently. Across the pond in the United States, some tea is spilling too. The House Oversight Committee in the US released a new tranche of documents on October 17th, collected as part of its ongoing investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. The files feature call logs, schedules of meetings between Epstein and prominent figures in the arts, technology and business, as well as the transcript of an interview the committee held with Alex Acosta, the former US Labor Secretary who served as the top federal prosecutor in South Florida when Epstein received a widely criticized plea deal nearly 2 decades ago. One redacted call log appears to show 2 undated calls from someone listed as Donald Trump. Epstein and President Donald Trump were once friends, but Trump has said he ended the relationship. After Epstein was arrested again in 2019, Trump, then in his first term as president, said,
"I had a falling out with him a long time ago. I don't think I've spoken to him for 15 years. I wasn't a fan."
On Friday, White House spokesperson Abigail Jackson defended Trump, kicked out Epstein for being a creep, and reiterated that Trump has always been one for complete transparency.
"It's not news that Epstein knew Donald Trump, because Donald Trump kicked Epstein out of his club for being a creep. Democrats and the fake news media knew about Epstein and his victims for years and did nothing to help them while President Trump was calling for transparency and is now delivering on it with thousands of pages of documents.
In addition, redacted flight logs, call and text logs, and property maintenance records were also released. The flight logs contained several references to Prince Andrew. The document's heavily redacted emails and calendar entries show scheduled breakfasts, lunches, dinners, and meetings from 2012 to 2014 with a variety of powerful people, including the filmmaker Woody Allen and the billionaires Peter Thiel and Reid Hoffman. The former US attorney who negotiated a controversial 2008 plea deal with Jeffrey Epstein defended that agreement in a closed-door interview with House investigators last month, according to a transcript of the interview released by lawmakers. During his vetting for Labor Secretary, Alex Acosta allegedly told Trump transition officials he'd been told to back off the Jeffrey Epstein case, saying Epstein belonged to intelligence. However, Acosta denied ever saying or believing that to be true in his interview with the House Oversight Committee. Acosta denied that he had said Epstein belonged to intelligence, a statement he allegedly made to Steve Bannon, executive and former White House chief strategist. During his interview with the committee on September 19th, Acosta, former US attorney who approved a plea deal allowing Epstein to plead guilty to one charge of solicitation in lieu of a federal investigation, repeatedly said he did not recall certain conversations or details related to the case and conversations he had had.
If you want to know that, you need to ask the intelligence community. I have not been approached by any member of the intelligence community, and I have no knowledge of his membership in the intelligence community.
There have been rumors and speculation for some time that ex-Israeli officials were close to and worked with Jeffrey Epstein. Those who have fueled the theory have suggested that Epstein worked with Israeli intelligence in exchange for his considerable wealth or in a mutually beneficial relationship, something his supporters have vehemently denied. Over the years, Epstein met several times with Israeli officials, including former Prime Minister Ehud Barak from around 2013. The financier was pictured with many celebrities, wealthy business people, and lawmakers. Acosta told the Oversight Committee that he had no reason to believe Epstein was an asset for either a domestic or foreign intelligence agency, adding that no one had approached him to tell him to back off the case.